I had to really take my time with this story. Let me show y'all this picture real quick. I'm going to back it up. I thought this person that you guys see on my screen in this next picture, I thought these were two different people. Now, granted, you can see kind of where his hair is kind of reddish, but I really couldn't tell between this picture that looks like one person besides the thinning hair on the top, and then you look at this person, they just look like two different people. So I thought I might have had the wrong story. But nonetheless, I don't do a lot of stories out of Utah, but we're definitely going to talk about a story that is going to disturb the absolute hell out of you. Let me give you guys a disclaimer, and then I got to give you another disclaimer. Some viewers may find the following content offensive and controversial. The information in this video comes from multiple sources, including court records, official police charges, news web articles, and interviews. This video commentary also contains my personal opinions about the facts of this story. The point is to use this story as a cautionary tale in hopes of preventing tragedies like these to children going forward. Viewer discretion is advised. That is your official disclaimer. And we're getting this story from Fox13now.com, so if you want to go back and verify this, you absolutely can. Let me give you guys another disclaimer because I'm trying to warn y'all. If you are sensitive, this story might bother you. Here's the disclaimer. YouTube, please don't demonetize my video. Please, I am begging you, YouTube algorithms. Okay? Content warning. The following video contains material or information, which is mainly information, that may be harmful or traumatizing to some audiences. Viewer discretion is advised. That is about as much of a disclaimer as I could possibly give you and tell you about what this man did that was absolutely dusting and disgusting to these children, okay? A man, and this is out of Roy, Utah. Y'all take an L. Roy, Utah. A man who pled guilty last week to killing a 2-year-old boy and abusing the boy's twin sister will spend the rest of his life in prison, and you're about to find out why. Brace yourselves. I'm trying to tell y'all it's going to be bad. It's going to be really bad. His name, let me get his face back up here, his stupid ass face. This pedophile's name is Jonathan Allen Dunn. I can call him a pedophile because the case is already closed. He is 100% verified a goddamn pedophile. He is 37 years old, and was arrested in December after the boy was found not breathing at a home in Roy, Utah. The toddler was taken to the hospital where he later died. His twin sister was also hospitalized with a brain bleed. Now, I'm wondering, what do you guys think that this man did that caused these babies to be so severely injured? Let me read this. This is important. I was a homeless, disabled Gulf War veteran, and California does not give a damn about the military and veterans who regularly evict on made-up-ish. Thank you so much for your donation and your support and your message. And I'm sorry, who was y'all governor? Who was running California and made that the case that didn't take care of veterans, which I think is flat out ridiculous. Our country needs to take care of all of our veterans. Thank you to all who have served. That's crazy. But thank you for your support. I appreciate that. Jonathan Allen Dunn, 37 years old. I guess you can call him Dung, D-U-N-G, even though it's D-U-N-N. I'm going to call him Dung. Was considered to be a close friend of the children's family. On August the 13th, he pled guilty to aggravated murder, 2 counts of aggravated sexual abuse of a child, and 1 count of aggravated child abuse. Let's go back to the pictures of these babies. Do y'all see how small and tiny and defenseless these children are? Now, we had a story that went viral on my channel about a pedophile by the name, a father pedophile by the name of Austin Kamal Stevens. Y'all remember him? Who raped and murdered Zara Scruggs? That video has done numbers on my channel for a long time, and I even did an update recently, and people are still watching that video quite a bit more than any other video on my channel. This man did the exact same thing. Make this go viral. Shout out to Miss V. Please make this video go viral. Share it everywhere you possibly can. 2 counts of sexual abuse of a child. 2 counts. The family did not find his statement believable. He said, "I'm sorry for what I've done, and it haunts me every day. I hope one day the family can forgive me for what I've done." And he said this at his sentencing. No, sir, there is no forgiving what you did until you meet your maker in hell. And even then, I hope that Satan don't forgive you, and I hope that there is a special place in hell for you and your soul. Jonathan, you are the epitome of evil, and our family will never forgive you for the damage you have done and the evil acts you have performed to these sweet, innocent babies, said Kari Miller, who is the toddler's aunt. Charging documents state, on the night of December 20th of 2023, Dunn was babysitting the pair of 2-year-olds. We can stop right the F there. I want y'all to look at this. He just has the face of a pedophile. Look at him. I'm trying to tell y'all better start judging a book by its cover. If it walks like a pedophile, looks like a pedophile, guess what? Don't leave your children around them. Why are y'all refusing to use daycares? Actual caretakers, because it's expensive? Yes. Having children is expensive. It always has been and always will be. If you cannot afford to give your children a proper babysitter or caretaker or daycare, then you should not be a parent and you shouldn't have kids if you're constantly trying to cheapo depot your way through life. There is no reason why this man who just looks like he would sexually assault a cactus if he could shouldn't be watching anybody's kids. He just looks like the type of person that on Groundhog Day, as soon as the groundhog leaves that hole, he probably trying to stick his junk up in it. It's just sometimes just people just look like they're not suitable for you to watch their kids, to be around their kids, just nothing at all. Don't say hi to my kid. Don't, hey, can I hold your baby? No, dude. No, you can't. It's okay to say no sometimes. He was babysitting, allegedly. He told police the next day in an interview that he was playing a game with the toddlers, but he began punching them. He hit them harder than he should have, according to the arrest report. He said he also pinched them hard, threw them on the bed repeatedly while they cried, hit them in the head with the butt of a Nerf gun, and pushed them into a door frame on which they hit their heads. Family friend, huh? I'm going to add this in there also. Y'all, please hit that thumbs up if you're watching this, because the more y'all hit the thumbs up, the more it shares these videos and the more we stand a chance that we might be able to spread this story and go viral. More people can see it. More people can know what actually happened to these babies. I'm going to call the parents out, and I know they're not going to like that if they see this video. Yes, I said a cactus. He looks like he would have sex with a cactus. He looks that fucking stupid. Look at his stupid ass face and tell me he don't look like the type. If you told me he was into bestiality, oh, I would believe it 100%. Let me get on to the parents. How much of a family friend is he, and how well did you know him? Have y'all ever hung out with this man, had conversations with this man, ever heard this man tell a joke, know about his upbringing? What do you actually know about him? Did you vet him? Did you do a background check on him? Where did he go to school? Where is he from? Who was he raised by? What is his beliefs? What religion is he? What do the parents actually know about this man at all for them to say, yes, we're going to absolutely 100% unfettered trust you with our small, innocent, defenseless little babies? If you ask me, as much as y'all want to get mad about what I say, that's how serious you need to take it. I don't think that they can come up with an excuse great enough to tell me where I'm wrong about the fact that they didn't properly vet him. And guess that's a shot at the damn parents. This fool gave the children medicine the night before going to bed. The next morning, he said that the boy was wheezing, so he gave him more medicine. Later that morning, he said the boy stopped breathing, and that's when he called 911. Let me tell y'all something. He don't look like a doctor to me, and he probably don't look like he could read a prescription. This man looked like he would have trouble reading his own fucking name. I believe that he probably was giving these children medication to drug them up for what he was trying to do to these little babies sexually. Hello. Is that traumatizing enough for you? And for those who can't type in the chat, you got to be subscribed to the channel for at least 10 minutes. Let me know what y'all think about this. Am I throwing stones? Am I just throwing stuff against the wall to see if it's going to stick? He probably was giving them medication the same way that men, vile men, not all, vile men who are looking to take advantage of a woman sexually to try to drug her up. That's what that sounds like to me. On the evening of December 21st of 2023, our family received the worst news that you could possibly ever receive, said Miller. Police said that there was also evidence of sexual abuse to both children, the boy and the girl. While everybody wants to think that these pedophiles only attack little girls, it is about a 50-50 chance that pedophiles want either one. They want your boys and your girls. They just want children. They want small children to take advantage of any child that they can get their hands on. So don't turn a blind eye to your boys. There was evidence of sexual abuse. This is not a mistake. This is not an accident. This was not anything other than intentional depravity, said Judge Noel S. Hyde, and I agree. There are no words that can adequately describe the level of depravity that this circumstance evokes. A letter from the surviving siblings' therapist was read aloud in court, who said that the young girl suffers from nightmares and now hits herself in the head. Lord have mercy. Oh my God. Pray for these babies. Jesus. As indicated by her therapist, we will never know the full effect of that brain trauma. This is not Dunn's first time of being convicted of child abuse. You remember when we talked about checking a background and doing a background check when I said that the family didn't properly vet this man? I repeat, according to Fox13now.com, this is not Dunn's first time being convicted of child abuse. Not his first time being convicted on record of child abuse. In 2017, which wasn't that long ago, he was sentenced to prison for breaking into his then girlfriend's, for breaking his then girlfriend's child's arm. He broke his girlfriend's baby's arm. He was discharged in December of 2021. And you mean to tell me that before y'all let this man babysit y'all child, y'all didn't at least do a background check, look him up? You didn't give a shit, did you? No, you didn't. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. Well, I know the parents ain't going to be happy about me saying that, but again, I think y'all need to hear it. You deserve to hear that, because there's no way that you just let some family friend watch your kids in the climate that we're in. Like, this stuff has been going on forever and a day. I've had a number of my videos that a lot of people have seen, maybe even the parents have seen videos similar to mine, true crime. This is why y'all need to share these videos, because people just act like, oh, they don't know, they don't show, and they don't see what goes on in these abuse cases with children. I believe that they know. They know the risk, and they ignored the risk. Family friend my ass. Y'all do me a favor and please hit that thumbs up. And I got a couple of news videos that I want y'all to hear from. I actually shortened this up quite a bit, so shout out to Law and Crime. Thank you very much. And I'm going to show just a little bit of their video.
This is 2-year-old Alistair, a young boy living in Roy, Utah, just 30 minutes north of Salt Lake City. Alistair and his twin sister were in the custody of this man, Jonathan Dunn, in 2023. Dunn was a family friend, even considered an adopted uncle by the twins' parents. But Dunn had a dark past, one that showed up again on December 21st of last year. Just after 10 o'clock that morning, police were called to a home on the city's north side. When emergency responders arrived, they on December 21st.
Look at this. Now, I know I'm being a little bit dark here, but y'all look at that horse. I'm pretty sure that that horse was sexually violated by this man. I'm sorry, but when I see this and know that he rapes little babies, this is what I think of. He probably also sexually assaulted that horse too.
First of last year. Just after 10 o'clock that morning, police were called to a home on the city's north side. When emergency responders arrived, they found 2-year-old Alistair on the front porch, and he wasn't breathing. The toddler was rushed to McKay-D Hospital, where he was later pronounced dead. Investigators later revealed that Alistair was found with several visible injuries to his face and body, and there were injuries on Alistair's twin sister too. Both twins had signs of abuse on their faces, heads, and genitals. The little girl was later hospitalized for a brain bleed. Almost immediately, investigators zeroed in on Dunn, who originally said Alistair had fallen from the couch, and that's why he called 911. But Dunn's story quickly changed, and the truth came out. Dunn admitted to throwing both twins onto the bed when they were crying, which may have injured them. But the real abuse came in the form of a sick game Dunn forced the twins to play. Dunn said as part of the game, he, quote, began to punch the male and female repeatedly in the back and sides and chest. Dunn even admitted he was hitting the children harder than he should have. But Dunn made another bombshell revelation too, that he sexually assaulted both 2-year-olds, pinching them in their genitals. After this abuse, Dunn gave Alistair Tylenol and cough medicine. He gave his sister a children's sleep aid before calling 911.
Y'all hear this?
He was eventually charged with aggravated child abuse, aggravated sexual abuse of a child, and aggravated murder in the death of 2-year-old Alistair.
Oh, this is one of the most disturbing cases I have ever seen. We talk a lot about different types of cases here, and there's very often no explanation that you could conjure up as to how this happened and why. This is one of those cases that hits the very top of the list for me of just absolute terror and not understanding how this could have happened, and just so much sympathy for the family here.
To understand this story, we reached out to criminal defense attorney Serena Townsend, who's also a former sex crimes prosecutor. If we're taking a closer look at the details of this really gruesome crime, we know that the defendant in this case was a family friend. Actually, some of the articles refer to him as an adopted uncle who had taken in these kids and was entrusted with watching them and protecting them. To me, that screams the ultimate betrayal, a family friend watching your children. What do you make of that?
I hate to say that it's surprising or rare, but the truth is, I'm a former sex crimes prosecutor. The majority of the cases that I prosecuted, the defendant and the accused was somebody known to the family. Oftentimes, it actually was an uncle or an adopted uncle, if you will, a close family friend. It is actually way more common than I think people realize for the perpetrator to be not just known, but well known and trusted by the family. And it's heartbreaking when something like that happens, but not as rare as we would hope.
So, in talking about that, the perpetrator being really close to the family, does that kind of give them a leg up, so to speak? I mean, they have access to these children, they're gaining the trust of these children, and there's someone who these children would never assume would do something bad to them. Does that kind of make things easier for them to get away with these crimes?
Absolutely, because everything that you just said is so true. The access, the trust, the ability for them to come and go as they please. And then also keep in mind, especially with children, a lot of times the children do not tell anybody, right? Children feel like adults are always right. And so they won't necessarily outcry and tell anybody. But now picture a child being molested or sexually abused by an uncle or a trusted person. Then it's exponentially harder to expect a child to actually tell anybody, because we all know that when that happens, a child thinks, oh, my parents are not going to believe me, or I'm going to get in trouble. They trust him, they like him. It's really so sad, because you know that he was able to take advantage of that fear.
The shocking details of the crime are almost worse because of the victims' ages. Sexual assaults of any kind are horrific for anyone to have to endure, but this one is almost another level because the two twins were 2 years old. I mean, they were toddlers. I am not a former sex crimes prosecutor, which is why I came to you for this case. Is this something that we see, that toddlers are sexually assaulted?
Yeah, and that's a really good point, because even my previous point of telling people doesn't even exist here. So he took advantage of a child, a baby, who can't even really say what happened. That makes things, it's interesting. It makes things a lot harder, right? Because you don't have somebody to say, here's what happened, when it happened, how it happened. Those are all very important things for a prosecutor to be able to prove. They have to prove every element of the charge. Usually 9 times out of 10, they do that through the survivor themselves. That being said, on the flip side, it's interesting because in order to be able to prove that case, they obviously would have to get different types of evidence, right? Maybe there was a witness, or there's forensic evidence, scientific evidence, serological evidence like DNA, things like that. And oftentimes, a jury is more willing to believe that type of evidence because it doesn't lie, right? It's proof, it's scientific, hard evidence, rather than a person saying, no, he did it. Sadly, we see that children are so often critiqued by jurors because they sometimes feel like, well, maybe they're exaggerating, or maybe it's just a figment of their imagination, or they're easily manipulated. And so sometimes when you don't have that person to be able to testify, your proof is sometimes even more compelling.
This story is especially gruesome and unfortunately is one of many we cover here on Law and Crime. But the reason we're able to bring you these stories,
Thought I skipped that part. Let me skip ahead just a little bit.
too, which again is another red flag, I'm kind of confused about all of this. How would he be able to have custody of these two children if he had a child abuse conviction?
He absolutely should not have. However, that conviction played out, first of all, obviously, these children were not even born in 2017. So all of this happened after he was convicted. Some convictions, if they're low level enough, do not require the person to have to register as a sex offender, interestingly enough. Some low level misdemeanor sex offenses, like forcible touching, at least in New York where I practice, low level sex abuse where it's a misdemeanor level rather than a felony level. There's certain types of cases like that where if you take a certain plea, you avoid having to register as a sex offender. So I wonder if what he was convicted of, he was able to avoid doing that. And maybe that red flag was not as bold and bright to the judicial system who gave him custody of these children. Although, you would hope that a judge or our government would look into everything in the past, not just the final conviction, but all of the history before granting access to children after he abused other children.
So we know Dunn had a history of child abuse and even a conviction, but Alistair's death brought Dunn's depravity to a new level. So we've talked about the horrific nature of these sexual assaults, but in addition to that, there's also murder on the table in this case. Unfortunately, one of the twins passed away as a result of his injuries. Is that something that we often see, sex crimes that lead to murder?
I hadn't seen that as often as just, not just, but the sex crime itself. This is just the saddest, most awful result here. We do see sexual acts being committed against very young children, babies. It's really the worst thing ever, but now you add murder on top of it. It is horrific. He must have just done the worst things ever to this poor baby. And to not be able to survive it, I mean, he deserves the sentence that he got, or maybe worse, honestly.
The abuse that resulted in Alistair's death and his sister's brain bleed happened in December of last year. Just this month, Dunn pleaded guilty to his charges: 2 counts of aggravated sexual abuse of a child, 1 count of aggravated child abuse, and 1 count of aggravated murder.
My thoughts about this. This is why I believe in the death penalty. Again, my closing thoughts. This is exactly why, and I've told people this, and I'm glad that the AFC, y'all actually will repeat this, and I'll see y'all talk about this because y'all know that I say this. People who hurt, murder, or abuse children, especially when they violate them sexually, cannot be rehabilitated and brought back into our society. I think that should be a one and done thing. If they do that, they should never be allowed in our society. They should not be allowed to parole. They shouldn't be given a second chance. They should never be able to see children, their own children, any children ever again. And I'm just saying, like, if you could qualify the death penalty for anything, I think that sexual abuse of a child should always come with the death penalty. Bottom line, may your whole ass soul rest in peace, bitch boy. Okay? To these babies, to the one that passed away, RIP. To the other baby, please keep these children in your prayers. Please, please, please. To the parents, I meant every word that I said. Y'all didn't vet this man at all. Could have found it on his record. Shouldn't have ever been allowed to watch children or be around anything that has a heartbeat. Thank you guys so much for listening with an open mind as well as an open heart. Thank you.